Good morning. Welcome. I'm Lauren from My Yoga My Way, a new online Zoom or pre-recorded yoga classes for you from beginner to intermediate. And we're going to do a really lovely beginner's practice today. So join me on the mat and hope you get something out of it. So come onto your mat. We'll start off in Shavasana in our lying position. So on our back, nice and comfortable. If you need a pillow or bolster underneath your legs or your back or your shoulders, please get them now. And we'll just come down onto the mat nice and slowly. And we want to have our legs extended out so that we're in a nice relaxed position. Make any adjustments here. Feel your heels, the back of your calves, your buttocks, your hips, perhaps your thoracic spine, so the top of your spine where your shoulder blades are, and even your shoulders, all of which should be making connections with the earth or floor, wherever you're doing your practice today. And we want to start making sure that we're growing ourselves nice and long on the mat. And we're going to do that from the head and work our way down through the toes. So we want to roll our shoulders up and bring them back a little bit, and that allows our chest to open up a little wider. From there, we want to make sure that we're growing long through our palms of our hands. Our hips are finding a nice neutral pelvis, so we haven't got too much sway in our lumbar spine. We're not requiring the whole of our back to be pressed into the earth. It will be a natural curve to your lumbar spine. And just grow long through the hamstrings, the top of the legs, through your knees down to your ankles. And with our head, we want to make sure that we're displacing it slightly into the mat. So pushing the back of your head into the mat slightly, dropping your chin down towards your chest. And what we're doing there is locating our dens location, which is nice and deep at the base of our skull. It's the point in which our head rotates on our neck. And through that feeling, that length in the neck, we have a sense of growing nice and long through the top of the crown and out through the crown. Just take a few breaths here. If you need to make any last minute adjustments, do so here. And we're going to just come into what we call passive observation of our breath. So we're sitting here not placing any patterns onto our breath. We're witness to what our current breath pattern is as we come into this practice. And take the time now to do a bit of a body scan. Internally and mentally look down from the top of your head through to the tips of your toes, finding locations throughout the body that you may be feeling tense. Just be witness to what our current breath is doing, and just perhaps ask yourself, have I got a short and fast breath, shallow, or is it a nice, long, smooth, steady breath? Our ultimate goal for our yoga practice is smooth and steady. You may hear in some classes Dirga and Sukshma, steady and smooth. Just allowing yourself to breathe naturally and not placing any judgment on your breath. And when your body will allow you, just come out of that practice. We'll just come into resting breath. Resting breath is just our normal breathing rhythm. take a few moments here to sink yourself a little further into the mat on every exhale, and to ask yourself what kind of mood you'd like to cultivate for this practice. Are you wanting a sense of relaxation for the practice? Are you wanting to energize yourself for the day ahead? Are you wanting to bring joy into your day, into your feeling? Just keep repeating this and reminding yourself throughout your practice what kind of mood. We refer to it as bhavana. And we'll come back and revisit this at the end of our practice. When your body allows, on your next breath, release yourself from this breathing. And we'll place our hands onto our lower belly and we'll come into a little bit of belly breath. Belly breath is the focusing on our inhale. If you take a nice big inhale now, in through the nose, into the middle of the chest, you'll notice your belly rise, moving away from your spine, and just exhale naturally. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, belly rising, filling with air, and just exhale naturally without any judgment. We'll take a few more inhales here. When you inhale, just send the intention of air coming through your nose, down your throat into your belly. And as you exhale, releasing all the air and your belly recoiling back to the spine. We'll now come to the important part of our breathing during our practice, which is our connection between our chest to abdomen breath. And as we focus on our exhale now, when we exhale, we're wanting to lightly contract our lower abdominal muscles. Imagine you zipping up the zipper on a tight pair of jeans. So on your next exhale, see if you can just ever so slightly contract those lower muscles from pubic bone to navel. Inhale in through the nose, belly rising. And as you exhale, lower contraction. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, contraction of the lower abdominal muscles, zipping up that pair of jeans in your mind. Continue this for a few more rounds. The purpose of our chest to abdomen breathing and that connection is really about supporting our lower spine during our asana practice. It's something that you can take away with you during your regular day. I tend to find myself doing it sometimes if I'm just sitting or if I'm standing at traffic lights and I'm waiting a little while. I'll do a bit of belly breath and then I'll connect that with my exhale with the contraction of my lower abdominal muscles. And if you're not getting the feeling, that's okay too. It takes a little bit of practice, and with that practice, there's an intention that's wrapped around that. So as long as you've got the intention of having that lower abdominal muscle contraction, just practice it through the week, practice it every time we come together on the mat. And over time, that connection will be better, will be stronger, and you'll know how to protect your spine and your lower back during yoga. 1 or 2 more breaths here, as much as your belly and your body will allow. And when you've done those final breaths, just release out of that practice energetically. So just place your hands down by the side of your body. You can move your body if you need to, just get a little bit of movement into the limbs. And what we're wanting to do now is just come into a stretching breath. So we're really wanting to learn that stretching breath in connection with our breathing. So from here, we're going to take an inhale into the center of the chest and raise our arms up. Exhale, bring them back over to the head. And as we come up, we inhale and exhale, doing the lower contracting of those muscles as we bring our arms down by our side. Let's do that again. Inhale into the middle of the chest and exhale as the arms go overhead. Inhale as we bring the arms up and exhale as we bring them back down by our body. And I'll do another one with an invitation to stay. Let's stay overhead for a few breaths, remembering belly breath in and exhale, lower contraction of the muscle. Enjoy the nice stretch, warming up our spine, warming up our shoulders. On your next inhale, we'll bring our hands up and exhale down beside our body. We'll now come into Apanasana, so I'll invite you to bring your legs up over your hips with your shins parallel to the ceiling. Gently grab your hands around your knees. And as we exhale, we're going to gently use our abdominal muscles to bring our knees in. It may not be very far, and that's fine, that's perfect. As we inhale, we take our knees away. Try not to collapse the legs down. We want them parallel with the ceiling. Exhale as we bring our knees into our chest. And inhale as we push them away. One more. Exhale as we bring the knees into the chest. And inhale as we take our knees away. I'll ask you to bring your feet down to the mat, taking them wide so your feet are either just off the sides of the mat or onto the edge of the mat. So minimum the width of the mat, please. You can either, depending on the space that you've got, have your hands out wide, shoulder height with your palms facing down, or you can have them in cactus arms, which is fingertips pointing above your head on the carpet. So stretched out again, shoulder height. Knees nice and wide, and on our exhale we're going to take both of our knees over to the right, just feeling that nice stretch through the left hamstring and hip. Inhale as we bring back to center, exhale as we take them both over to the left, again enjoying that stretch. Inhale back to center, exhale over to the right, inhale back up, and exhale over to the left. Inhale back up. We'll take our legs long again and we'll keep them a little closer together now, and we're wanting to do some craniosacral pumps. So on our exhale, we'll bring our right knee towards our chest, hands wrapped around our knees, and if possible and your body will allow, bring your head up towards your knees. And inhale back down to lying position. Do that on the other side. Exhale, legs up and rolling our shoulders up so that we can try and meet our head or forehead to our knee. Inhale, legs and body back down. Exhale, right leg up, bringing our head up toward our knee. Inhale, back down. Exhale, left leg up, head towards the knee. And inhale, back down. One more either side with an invitation to stay for a few breaths on each side. So up with the right, take a few breaths here. Really see if you can stretch the left leg out. If that's getting too much for your neck and your body's asking you to relax, inhale and bring it down to the ground. And we'll do the last one on the left-hand side. Exhaling as we bring our head up to our knee, an invitation to stay here for a few breaths. Really stretching through that right leg. And when your body's had enough, you may inhale and bringing your legs back down. We'll do some hamstring stretches. So bending your right knee, foot flat on the floor. I invite you to bring the left ankle to the behind your right leg, and let's grab our leg behind the right knee. Now you can have a variation here. You may extend your right foot if your body will allow it, flexing your foot and gently bringing your right leg towards the body. If that's too strong of a pose, keep that leg bent with your shin parallel to the ceiling and just gently bring that right leg, towards you, getting a nice hamstring stretch in the left hand side. Making sure to breathe. Inhale, belly out, and exhaling, supporting that spine. Okay, we can take our hands away from our leg, bringing our right foot down and swapping it over. So left leg on the ground, foot flat on the ground, right ankle to behind the left knee, bringing that left leg up. So your left shin can be parallel to the ceiling, getting a beautiful stretch in the right hamstring and buttocks. Or you can vary it and you can straighten your leg, flexing the foot. It's really about reading your body and listening to what it can and can't do. We certainly don't want any pain. A little bit of discomfort is appropriate and we can accept that as part of our practice, but we must not enter the zone of pain. And when you've had enough, bringing that left leg down and uncrossing your legs. We're going to roll up now to seated position. Come up any way you can. A really nice, comfortable process is to bring your fingers into a diamond pattern, putting it underneath your hips, legs up, crossing the ankles and allowing it to leverage you up. Facing the long edge of your mat, I ask you just to cross your legs in whatever comfortable space you can. Sitting up nice and tall, let's roll our shoulders up and back to gain a little bit of length inside our spine. Thinking nice and tall and thinking what we call axial extension through the crown. So imagine we've got a piece of string that's coming up through the crown of our head. And we'll just sit here and take a breath. And as we inhale, on the exhale, we're going to just drop our chin to our chest to stretch along the back of the neck. Always inhaling up as we come back up to center. Exhaling, we'll bring our right ear to our right shoulder very gently. Inhaling back to center. And exhaling, left ear to left shoulder. Inhale back up. Exhale, we're going to bring our chin over to our right shoulder, looking over our shoulder. And inhale back to center. Exhaling, bringing our chin over to our left shoulder. And inhaling back to center. We'll take an exhale as we very gently look up for a nice throat stretch. And inhale as we come back to center. We'll do another round. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale back to center. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Back to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Back to center. Chin goes around to our right shoulder on the exhale. And back to center. Around to the left hand side. You may do this as slowly as possible. It's really whatever feels right for you. And our last one, nice throat stretch, looking up to the sky. And inhale back to center. Inhale, we'll raise our hands up above our heads, and on our exhale, we'll bring our right hand down to the mat, push through our left, and over we go towards the right hand side. I don't want to see any collapsing in this side. Keep your spine nice and tall, pushing through that left hand. Inhaling, raising the right arm. Exhaling, bringing the left hand down now. Stretch through the right and over we go, not collapsing the left side, keeping it nice and long and stacked. And inhale, we'll do another round of them. A variation, if your body will allow, will be to put your elbow or forearm onto the ground. Don't feel like you need to do that now. This is something that will come to you over time. If your body will allow it, enjoy that extra stretch along the side. Pushing through the right hand and bringing it down. If your forearm is on the ground, make sure you gaze upwards if that's nice for your neck. Appreciate the gaze skyward. You might find it's easier on your neck to gaze down. Listen to your body. Inhaling, bringing it back up. And bringing our hands down on the exhale, we'll come over to our hands and knees. From here, we're going to do some cat and cows. So we want to have our knees under our hips, hip width apart, and our hands just nicely stacked under our shoulders. Spread your fingers so that you're engaging with your mat. Tops of your feet should be flat on the mat. And on our inhale, we're going to drop our belly, pushing our bottom up, and we're also going to look skyward as much as you can. It might also be forward. That's on our inhale. Exhaling, let's roll our shoulders, look back through our body. That's our cat. Let's go into cow again. Inhaling, dropping the belly, pushing our tailbone skyward, looking up as much as we can, giving a nice stretch through the chest and ribs and sternum. And exhale, rounding our shoulders, looking back through the body. Nice big exhale here. Inhale, tailbone goes up, belly drops, rolling your shoulders back. Open up that chest as much as you can, looking skyward. And one last cat. Exhale, looking back through the body. Invitation to stay here for a few breaths. We'll come up onto our knees very gently. So walking yourselves back into standing upright on our knees. Looking forward, we're going to just do some kneeling poses. We will be bringing our seat back to our heels. So if you need a pillow, please use so here, just to give yourself a little bit of a buffer between your knees and your heels. I'll do one as an example for you. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, nice big stretch. And as we exhale, we're bending ourselves over. We're bringing our seat towards our heels, and as much as you can, bring our head towards the floor. Inhale into the middle of the chest. We're bringing ourselves back up, looking up to the sky. And exhale, bringing our bottom towards our heels and bending ourselves forward as much as we can. Some of you may have your head towards the ground. Enjoy the big stretch of your arms. Reach back as far as you can with your fingertips. And one more here. Inhaling, kneeling up nice and tall. Spread those fingers out. Enjoy a stretch through the fingertips. And exhale, bending our knees, bringing our bottoms over back towards the heel. Body going down to the ground. And just stay here for a few breaths. It's whatever's nice for you. If this is a too strong a pose, Then you just come back to seating, and you can just sit up and take a few breaths here before you rise again. From here, we're going to go into a deep lunge. So if we can bring our right leg through to the front, facing the short edge of the mat, having our hands on either side of your right leg and dropping our hips down. We want you to find your balance here. If you need to keep your hands on the ground, please do so. If you have found your balance, take an inhale here, hands to chest, and lean nice and deeply into the left hip, keeping your torso straight, your gaze forward, and your shoulders back and down. You might want to do a variation here where we can do a twist. Our left elbow goes to the outside of our right knee. Take a few breaths here as we look over our right side. And on our inhale, bringing it back to center. We'll place our arms down by each side of our right foot, bringing our right leg back, and we'll do the same again on the left-hand side. So as we bring our left foot forward, take your time. You may need to assist your leg through. A little bit of more of that hip flexibility will happen over time. Find your balance. You can have your foot, your toe curled, or your foot placed flat on the ground. You'll find more stability if you do curl your toes, anchors you a little bit more into the mat. Once you've found your balance, let's inhale and bring our torso up. Take a nice big exhale as we flex that right hip forward, keeping our torso straight, gaze forward, shoulders back and down. Again for the variation on our exhale. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee and twist around, looking over your left shoulder. Take a breath, but if you find that this position is too strong, you can on your inhale, we'll come back to center. We're going to place both hands on either side of our left leg, and we're going to come into downward dog. So let's put our hands a little forward from our shoulders. Anchor our hands in, so gripping through our fingertips into the mat. Let's curl our toes, and on our next exhale, lifting our hips up skyward. And you may need to bend your knees as much as your body will allow. Send your hips back first, and then you can send them skyward as your body becomes comfortable with this pose. Let's paddle our feet here. We call this walking the dog. And this just allows a nice stretch through the back of the leg, the calves, and the hamstrings. You may have your feet at tippy toe. You may have your balls of your feet back, or you may actually have the heels on the ground. It's certainly not something that needs to be perfected. Perfect is just how your body is placed on the mat now. And take a few breaths here. For beginners, it may feel like a really strong pose, but in fact, it's quite a restorative and relaxing pose as we look through the back of the body. And when our body allows, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. Stay in our forward fold. We'll come into ragdoll. So we're going to grab each side of our elbows, each of our elbows. Bend your knees as much as you need. And just allow our spine to lengthen as we've folded forward, relaxing our head. If your balance allows, you may twist from side to side, getting a bit of movement into your spine and your hips. Enjoy the extension and the decompressing of the spine as you look through to the back of your body. And from Ragdoll, we'll release our hands. We'll come into standing. So you can either just come up to standing or you can deepen the knees. Bring your hands up over your head and exhale as we bring them down by our side. I'll get you just to go from left to right, swinging the arms and lifting the opposite heel off every time you do a twist. I hope that you're all feeling okay. You can move and roll your shoulders if you need. We'll come into a flowing crescent now. So I'll get you to stand nice and tall. We want to engage the arches in our feet to stabilise our standing position. We want to make sure that the three arches, the outside arches, the arch going across the ball of our feet and our middle arch are engaged and locked into the earth. We want to send that locked energy up through our knees and our legs, top of our legs. Let's find a neutral pelvis. We don't want an overcompensation or over-tilted pelvis either back or forward. So just find it. You can use your hands to find it. And once you've found that, a nice lengthening of the spine, shoulders up and back. And again, we're wanting to find that axial extension, so that growth through the crown of our head, thinking nice and tall. On our inhale, we'll bring our hands over our head, interlocking our fingers and turning the palms skyward. On our exhale, we'll move over to the right hand side as much as your body will allow. Inhaling it, bringing it back to center, and exhaling over to the left. Inhaling back up and exhaling over to the right. And one more on the left. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling back to center. I'll now ask you to face the short edge of the mat. We're coming into Warrior One. So again, finding our mountain pose, hands down by the side, looking forward. On our inhale, we can either put our hands on our hips or our hands up above, arms to our chest, and we'll step our right foot back. Now you can have that as far or as close as your body will allow. You can turn your right foot a little towards the edge of your mat. Your left foot should be facing the short edge of the mat, facing forward. Your hips should also be facing forward as much as your body will allow. And as we come in here, we'll raise our hands up, inhaling into the center of the chest. And as we exhale, we bend that left leg. And we're coming into Warrior One. Inhale as we straighten that front leg. And exhale as we bring our hands down. We'll do that again. Inhaling into the center of the chest. Exhale as we bend that left knee, coming into Warrior One. And we inhale as we straighten the left leg. Exhale, bringing our hands down by our side. We'll do one more on this side with an invitation to stay. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, bending the leg forward. And you may have your hands in chest or prayer position. We don't want to tilt the pelvis forward. Try and keep that nice and neutral as we stay in Warrior One for a few breaths. Inhale as we straighten the left leg, and we'll step the right foot back to our starting position. Let's do that on the other side. So finding our nice mountain pose, gazing forward, thinking tall. We can exhale as we step our left foot back, turning our left foot 45 degrees or just towards the long edge of the mat. Right foot pointing forward, hips pointing forward. As we inhale, we'll bring our hands up to the sky. Exhaling as we bend that right knee into warrior one. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, hands down by our side. Take a nice big inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale as we bend into warrior one. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, hands down by our side. We'll do one more with an invitation to stay. Inhale into the center of the chest. Exhale as we bend our leg into warrior one. Again, hands can be at the heart, hands can be on the hips. Nice neutral pelvis. Invitation to stay here for a few breaths. Okay, inhale as we're bringing our leg to straight. Exhale as we bring our arms down. I want you to then turn your right foot around and we'll come back to wide leg forward fold. So keeping our legs nice and wide, facing the long edge of the mat. Finding a nice neutral pelvis. We'll inhale with the center of the chest, sense of expansion. And as we exhale, we're going to do making sure we're checking in with our lower abdominal muscles to support that spine. And we're going to fold forward. Exhale, folding forward, keeping your spine straight. Reach, reach, reach with your arms. Now you may put your hands on the ground for support. You may just want your hands on your hips. Wherever your arms, hands come to. Enjoy the forward fold and relax your head down, relax your neck. And just allow the nice stretch on the back of your hamstrings. When your body's had enough, support your lower spine by lower contraction of those abdominal muscles, reaching forward and coming back up to standing. Exhaling as we bring our hands down by our side and just walking ourselves in. We'll come to some balancing poses now. Standing pigeon requires us to do a bit of a half chair pose, but we're bringing our right and left ankles over our knees. So on our inhale, we'll bring our hands up. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands to our chest, center of our chest, and we'll take our intention to hold all of our weight in our left leg as we bring our right ankle over our left knee. Just try and send the intention to have that balance. And as you do, you're sitting nice and straight, we gradually bring that left knee down. You might find a little more balance if you put your hands up. If you've got a chair or a table, the wall, whatever it may be, to help you along the way, please use it. Over time, you will learn your balance. Inhaling as we're bringing the hands up and fall out of the position. Let's do that on the other side. So just finding our balance here. Inhaling into the center of the chest. Exhale as we bring our hands to the center of our chest, gently bending the knees, lifting our left leg over to our right, pushing that knee away towards the back, so not dropping it forward. And when we're ready, bending that right knee. Again, you can send your hands skywards. Just stay here for a few breaths. And if you fall out of the pose, that's totally fine. Inhale as you straighten the leg. Exhale, hands down by your side. We'll come into warrior three. Finding your nice neutral pelvis here. Inhale into the center of the chest with a sense of expansion. And as we exhale, we fold our body forward. And we actually then lifting our right leg back with our foot flexed. You might have it here. You might only have it a little way. You might be able to go all the way forward depending on how your balance is today. Some days of the week, mine is better than the others. The key is really finding your gaze. On the inhale, we're bringing our feet back down. We'll do that on the left-hand side. Send all the intention into your right leg to hold the weight. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, taking the weight into your right and sending your left foot back, flexing the foot as you bend forward. Inhaling, coming back up to standing, and just walk our hands out. Very, very good. We'll come back down to seated by way of Malasana, so a yogi squat pose. Taking our legs, you might want your feet 45-degree angle, whatever's comfortable for you. You may not have done this pose in previous practices. If not, please feel free just to bring yourself down into a seated position. For those that would like to try, inhale, hands above the head. Exhale as we bring our hands down towards the center of our chest as we bend our knees and we come into a squat. We can push our legs away with our elbows on the inside of our knees. Take a few breaths here. And for those that would like an extra stretch, right hand to the floor, left hand up to the sky for a twist. And exhale, left hand down and right hand up for a twist. Bringing our hands down and bring ourselves down onto the mat as gracefully as we can. We'll come here into bound butterfly pose. So let's bring our feet, the heels of our feet and the soles of our feet together, just grabbing them with our hands, sitting up nice and tall and allowing our knees to drop out to the side. If this is too strong, you can place cushions under your knees or you keep them up as high as you can. For those that you would like a nice stretch through the groin and the hamstrings and the quads, just gently flapping our legs up and down, taking a few breaths here. And when your body will allow, we'll come down into lying position. So release your hands from your soles of your feet. Turn yourself around and we'll come down into supine. Come down as carefully as possible. As we lie down, we're making sure that our shoulders, our hips, everything is comfortable on the mat. We're going to leave our knees bent with our feet flat on the floor, as if we're coming into bridge pose. Here we're going to do half boat. So we're going to have our hands clasped together, a bit Charlie's Angel style. Fingers, index fingers pointing forward, thumbs pointing back. And we'll bring them overhead. On our exhale, we're going to engage our core, do that zipper of our pubic bone to our navel. And as we exhale, we're going to bring our arms up overhead and over to the outside of the left leg. Inhaling, bringing our hands back down. And exhale as we lift our body and our shoulders up, bringing our hands over to the outside of the right. This is half boat pose. Inhaling back down to center. I'm going to exhale, bring them again to the outside of our left leg, contracting those lower abdominal muscles as it allows us to move up a little bit further. Inhaling back down. And exhaling as we come up and over to the right hand side. Making sure to breathe as we go. Inhaling back down and one more on each side with an invitation to stay. Exhaling, lifting the shoulders off the ground over to the outside of the left leg. Invitation to stay here for a few breaths. Each time you can bring yourself up a little higher. If that's too strong for you, please take yourself back down to the ground. And on our inhale, we'll take ourselves back to lying. And last one on the right hand side. So we'll do exhaling, lifting arms up overhead, up over to the right hand side. Invitation to stay here for a few breaths. Perhaps on your exhale, lifting yourself a little further up each time. And inhale as we come back down to center. We're going to do reclined half lotus now. Again, similar to all of our little stretches we've done today, we'll bring our right ankle over to behind our left knee, and we're going to lift our leg up and grab our shin. So our left leg shin should be parallel with the ceiling, and gently just allow your left leg to fall back towards your body, feeling a really generous stretch through that right hip and right glute. Take a few breaths here. Okay, on our inhale, we'll release our hands from our left knee, dropping our left foot down, uncrossing our right, and we'll do it again on the other side. So left ankle to the back of the right leg, feeding our hands through, grabbing the outside of our right knee or shin, lifting that shin up a little so that it is parallel with the ceiling, and every time you lift it up a little further, you'll feel a little more intense stretch through the glute and the hamstrings of the left leg. Enjoy that stretch here. Again, no pain. A little bit of discomfort is acceptable, but we must not enter that pain zone. Take a few deep breaths here. And when your body's had enough, releasing the hands from your right leg, bringing your foot down, coming into bridge pose now. Bring your heels back. So if you put both of your hands flat down on the ground, your middle finger should feel the back of your heel, okay? Keeping those feet still, and also sending an intention for our knees not to fall out as we lift our hips up. The knees are supposed to stay hip distance apart, stay where they are. On our exhale, we're going to lift our hips into bridge. Lifting your hips as high as you can without allowing your knees to drop out. We also don't want to compress our neck or our chest, so we keep our chin high. And we're just leaning into our shoulder blades. And inhale as we bring our hips back down to the ground. Take a breath here. We'll do that again. Inhale into the center of the chest as we lift our hips up. Exhaling as we're lifting the hips, coming into our shoulder blades. Lifting our chin high as not to compress our throats. Sending the intention of our hips upward, and inhaling back down to the ground. One more with an invitation to stay here. Find your balance. Intention to keep those knees in the same position. Don't let them fall out. Inhaling, lifting our hips up skyward. And exhale. Just stay here for a few breaths, and perhaps with every exhale you can lift your glutes a little higher. And when your body lets you, inhaling and taking your hips back down to the ground, we'll come back up into seated. Again with our diamond pattern of our fingers, place that under our hips. Legs up to the chest, crossing the ankles and allowing leverage up to seated. As we come forward as sitting, we're going to extend our feet out forward. I'll go a little onto an angle so that you can see. We want to sit up nice and tall. Extension through the crown of our head. We want to roll our shoulders up and back. We're going to do a forward fold, and I ask and invite you to bend your legs as much as you need. The intention is for your torso to come as close as possible to your thighs. So if you're able to do it with your feet out, please do so. If you're a yogi in training, please bend your knees as much as you need. Depending on the type of day, depends on how flexible and how stretchy your legs are. So we'll take an inhale into the center of the chest with a sense of expansion. And as we exhale, we stretch our spine forward. Don't slouch, keep it nice and straight, bending your thighs as much as you need so that your comes to your thighs. Looking through your knees, you may place your hands on the ground in front of you. They may be on your shins. Wherever it's comfortable for you. And on the inhale, we'll sit ourselves back up. Just place your hands behind you and allow your legs to relax and just stretch out of that pose. And we'll come and do that one again. So pointing your toes to the sky, inhale to the center of the chest. And as you exhale, you may bend forward, keeping that spine nice and straight, stretching your hands as much as you need. Looking back through the legs. And inhaling, walking yourself back up to seated. Place your hands behind your back and lean into it, wriggling out energetically. And we'll do another last one with an intention to stay here. Sitting up nice and tall, we have our feet pointing upwards. We'll inhale into the center of the chest with a sense of expansion. And as we exhale, we keep that spine nice and long, bending the knees as much as you need, reaching your hands forward and looking gently through your knees. Staying here for a few breaths. With every exhale, you might sink a little deeper. As long as you've got that spine nice and straight and your knees bent so there's no pain. On your next inhale, you can walk yourselves back up to seated position, resting your hands behind your back and leaning in and wriggling yourself out of it. Well done. That can be quite intense, but with a little bit of practice, you'll find some beautiful results. Coming into seated now, so we'll get you sitting up and crossing your legs. We'll do a couple of simple seated twists. Inhale, our arms up over our head, and as we exhale, we're going to bring our right hand down behind us, our left hand to the outside of the right knee, and exhaling, twisting around. I want you to make note that your chin and your sternum should be in alignment at this point in time. Unless your neck is all warmed up, there should be no looking over your shoulder. Just keep your chin in line with your chest, and with every exhale, you might want to twist a little further. On the inhale, we'll come back up to center, and on our exhale, we'll go over to the left. Left hand behind, right hand to the outside of the left knee. Take a nice big inhale. And just twist that little further on the exhale, keeping your chin and sternum in alignment. Inhale, coming back to center. And exhale, arms down by your side. We'll bring our legs out wide. If bringing them out wide is too intense, bringing them in as much as you need. Again, feel free to put any bolsters or cushions under the knees. If you've got a block, put it under there. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. Wanting to sit up nice and tall. We're going to bring our hands out and up on our inhale. As we exhale, we're going to bring our right hand down towards our ankle. And we want to look up and around. So we're looking up. And we're wanting to twist our left hand up and around. So this is a revolved head to knee. If you've got a little bit more flexibility, you might have your forearm on the ground as you twist. You might be standing up like this, That's okay. If you can grab your foot, perfect. Whatever's comfortable for you. And as you feel any tightness or any pain, you come out of the pose at any time. And inhale as we come back up to center. Exhale as we do the same on the left-hand side. Forearm is the intention to get to the ground, twisting our chest to the right, looking up to the sky. Again, your hand might be on your shin, might be on your foot, whatever it may be. Just enjoy that nice twist. Your gaze might be up. If that's too strong, have your gaze facing down. Our intention will be for our forearm to go to the ground, and that will come over time. Inhale into the center of the chest, very gently coming up. And we come up now. Exhale, bringing our hands down by our side. We can come either onto kneeling, or you can remain seated, whatever's comfortable for you. I'm just going to turn around so that you can see what our next posture is, which is called cow face. So if you're kneeling like I am, roll your shoulders back and down. We want to raise our arms up on our inhale. On our exhale, we're going to bring our right hand down, twisting. So see my thumb? We're going to, like a hitchhiker, we're going to twist that down and around, and we're going to bring it up to the back of walk it up our back as much as we can. You may be here, you may be here. It definitely is one that's to be practiced, but it's an excellent shoulder stretch. From here, your left hand with your thumb pointing down will go back to reach your hand, and we'll make sure that our head is not caught on our arm. Bring our head out and around, gaze up or forward, whatever's comfortable for you, and enjoy the stretch along the inside shoulder of your left arm. And when your body wants to come out of the pose, lifting your left arm up, unfurling your right and bringing it up. Take an exhale as we bring them down to the body. We'll do that on the other side. Inhale into the center of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, bringing our left hand down, twisting our thumb down towards the ground, and then sending it back up towards the top of the spine. And exhale as we bring our right hand down, bringing our head out and around, allowing ourselves to look forward or up. You might find, as you can see here, that each side is very different depending on the rotation and the flexibility of your shoulder joints. Again, if you had a strap, I've got a strap here. You can always use a strap or a TheraBand. And if that's the case, you can always hold it down there and you can just hold it like that. Okay? Whatever's comfortable for you. So when your body's ready, you can take yourself out of that pose, raising your left hand back up and around. And exhale as we bring our hands down by our side. I hope you enjoyed that one. Now we'll come back down onto supine. So just take ourselves down into lying as best as you can and as comfortably as you can. And when you've come down to lying, I want you to come into reclined butterfly. So again, we're putting our soles of our feet together and allowing our knees to fall out by the sides. You can have your hands resting underneath your knees for a little bit of support. If not, you can keep your hands on your belly and just allowing yourself to enjoy a stretch through the groin and the hips. Take a nice few breaths here. Just coming into the last portion of our practice now. We'll do a few shoulder stretches while our feet are in butterfly position. So bringing our hands up above our chest, We're going to interlock and grab each elbow. Now this time we'll stretch both elbows over our head and just imagine that someone is pulling you nice and tall from the elbows, giving you that extra stretch up through the rib cage, through your shoulders, that upper back. Take a nice deep inhale, exhale through the mouth. Inhale again as we lift our hands up above our side and just bringing them down to either side of the knee, allowing each hand to bring your legs up. And we'll come into windscreen wipers before coming into Shavasana. So feet wide on the mat. As we exhale, we're bringing both knees over to the side just to stretch out those hips and get them moving again. Inhale back to center and then exhale over to the left. And just do that for a few times, whatever's comfortable for your body. Making sure you exhale as you take over to the side and you're inhaling as you're bringing those legs back up to center. One more each side. And as you come back up to center, I want you to take a nice big breath out as we slide our legs down into Shavasana, into lying, coming down into our last posture for the day. Taking your arms away from your body's midline, palms facing up. Your feet will naturally fall away to the sides. Allow them to fall as much as they need. And reconnecting with the earth and the floor. Feeling your heels, your calves, your hips and your thoracic spine, the top half, your rib cage and your shoulder blades all touching the earth. Taking a few breaths here. And just reconnecting also with your mood that you had set yourself at the start of this practice. I hope it's brought your mood to you. Feel that mood in your heart space. And as you take a deep exhale, I want you to send that mood all the way through your body to each cell, from the tip of your head to the tips of your toes, through to your fingertips. Allowing yourself with every exhale to sink a little deeper into the mat. With every inhale, your belly rising. Filling with air and life force. Exhale all the air out. Inhaling through the nose while your belly expands, and on your exhale, rush it out of your body. Try and expel every last bit of air before you take an inhale. As we sit here reconnecting with our breath, I just want you to see if you can focus on the noises away from the room or where you are today. The furthest most noise, and then focus on the noises coming inward. So with every breath in and out, focus on the room, the noises in the room. Focus on the walls and the ceilings. And just start wiggling your toes and your fingers to get a little bit of movement back into your body. And when your body will allow, I'll ask you to roll over to one side, bringing yourself up very carefully into seated position. Take some time here to just get comfortable in your seated position. Still growing long through the body. Just reconnecting your seat with the earth. Placing your hands on your knees, lightly touching your thumb and forefinger. Taking a few breaths here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart center, your Anahata chakra, and take 3 deep, even breaths. I now invite you to take your hands to your third eye, your Ajna chakra, for purity of thought and clarity of the mind. And take your hands to your throat chakra, your Vishuddha chakra, for clarity of the word and purity of the speech. May you always speak the truth. And to your heart center, your Anahata chakra, for love, joy, and acceptance. Lightly bowing your head, thank you for allowing me to come to the mat today to guide you through this practice. Namaste.